A housemate is humiliated for ruining an outfit, but the next day she finds a winning lottery ticket. When her boss finds out, an apocalypse ensues. Ana woke up every day before the sun rose. Her life as a domestic worker in the Ramirez household was marked by a relentless and unceasing routine. The sound of the alarm clock broke the silence of dawn, and she got up slowly, feeling the weight of accumulated exhaustion. Her room, small and simple, was a reflection of her modest existence. The peeling walls and narrow bed were a constant reminder of the limitations she faced. In the kitchen, the smell of fresh coffee wasn't for her. She prepared the Ramirez family's breakfast with dedication, while hunger gnawed at her stomach. Even so, Ana held her head high, her dignity intact, knowing that the day would be long. Each task, each movement, was executed with precision and care. She polished the furniture, swept the marble floors, and organized the family's belongings with the same attention she gave to her own thoughts. Mrs. Ramirez, a woman with a stern expression and cold eyes, rarely spoke to Ana kindly. Any mistake, no matter how small, resulted in a barrage of criticism and insults. Ana had become accustomed to the biting remarks and the look of disdain she received. Even so, each word cut like a sharp blade, leaving invisible scars on her soul. Despite the difficulties, Ana found moments of solace in small things. A gentle breeze through the open window, the bird's song at dawn, and the rare smiles from Guadalupe, the Ramirez's daughter, were her secret comforts. Guadalupe, a lively young girl, had a compassionate gaze that contrasted with her parents' coldness. The heavy work and constant humiliation did not extinguish the hope in Ana's heart. She dreamed of better days, imagining herself free from that oppression. But until then, she faced each day with silent courage, holding within her the strength that kept her standing. And so, Ana's life unfolded in the Ramirez household, a cycle of hard work and mistreatment. But something was about to change, a small incident that would bring hidden secrets to light and awaken dormant hopes. And it would all start with a simple stained dress, an apparently trivial mistake that would trigger a series of unexpected events. That morning, the sun had barely risen above the horizon when Ana began her work. The Ramirez house was quiet, almost serene, a calm that concealed the turmoil about to unfold. Between one task and another, Ana accidentally stained Mrs. Ramirez's favorite dress. The garment, a delicate and very expensive silk, now bore an impossible-to-ignore coffee stain. Ana knew what was coming next. Her heart raced as she tried in vain to remove the stain. With each scrub, it seemed that the mark became more evident, like a shadow refusing to disappear. Finally, with trembling hands and tear-filled eyes, she prepared to face her employer's wrath. When Mrs. Ramirez discovered what had happened, her reaction was immediate and cruel. The shrill scream broke the house's silence, echoing through the walls like thunder. Incompetent, she shouted, holding the stained dress as if it were undeniable proof of Ana's carelessness. The ensuing humiliation was devastating. Mrs. Ramirez's words were sharp, each insult a direct blow to Ana's heart. The other servants kept their distance, glancing sideways but not intervening. Everyone knew how relentless Mrs. Ramirez could be. For Ana, the shame was overwhelming. Each word echoed in her mind, reverberating with silent pain. But deep within her soul, a seed of resilience remained intact. As Mrs. Ramirez calmed down, still muttering about Ana's incompetence, Guadalupe came down the stairs. The young girl looked at the scene with a mixture of sadness and understanding. In Guadalupe's eyes, Ana saw something that strengthened her, an empathy that gave her the courage to continue. The Ramirez house returned to its usual state, but something had changed. Ana felt more determined than ever to fight for a better future. And as she continued her work, something unexpected happened. While cleaning one of the rooms, Ana found a forgotten lottery ticket. She paused, her heart racing. The ticket was a winner. In that moment, Ana realized her life was about to take an unexpected turn. The hope, once dormant, began to awaken. While cleaning the guest room, Ana still felt the weight of the day's humiliation. Her mind wandered, lost in thoughts of how to escape that life of suffering. It was then, while moving a piece of furniture to sweep underneath, that she noticed a small piece of paper stuck on the edge of the carpet. Curious, she picked up the paper and, upon unfolding it, her heart nearly stopped. It was a winning lottery ticket. At first, Anna couldn't believe what she was seeing. She looked around, as if expecting someone to appear and snatch the ticket from her hands. But she was alone. The discovery seemed surreal, a ray of hope in the darkness of her life. She felt a whirlwind of emotions, joy, fear, uncertainty. What if that ticket could change her destiny? Anna quickly hid the ticket, fearing someone might see it. She shivered at the thought of the Ramirez's reaction if they knew she had something so valuable in her possession. The tension in the house was already high, and now, with this ticket, everything could become even more complicated. The thought of the daily mistreatment she endured made her heart ache. But that piece of paper represented more than money. It represented an escape, a chance to start over. In the days that followed, Anna kept the ticket with extreme care, always keeping it close to her, as if it were a talisman. Every time the Ramirez passed by her, every time Mrs. Ramirez looked at her with disdain, Anna clung to the idea of a different future. The ticket was her secret, her silent hope that one day she could escape that oppressive life. As the tension in the house increased with the frantic search for the missing ticket, Anna found herself in a moral dilemma. Should she reveal what she found and face the possible consequences? Or should she keep the secret and plan her escape to an uncertain but potentially better future? And so, amid the confusion and fear, Anna continued her work, always with the ticket hidden and her heart full of hope. Little did she know that with Guadalupe's return, the dynamics in the Ramirez household would begin to change in unexpected ways. Mrs. Ramirez, usually imposing and confident, now seemed like a restless shadow throughout the house. The missing lottery ticket had turned the Ramirez mansion into a minefield of tension and distrust. She rifled through drawers, rummaged through closets, and interrogated the servants with a sharp, suspicious gaze. Her obsession with the lost ticket consumed every moment of her day. Anna, on the other hand, did everything she could to avoid arousing suspicion. She continued her work meticulously, always keeping the ticket well hidden. The fear of being discovered followed her every step, but the flame of hope pushed her forward. She knew that if she were caught, the consequences would be dire. But the possibility of a different future was irresistible. Meanwhile, Mrs. Ramirez grew more desperate by the day. The tension in the house was palpable. Mr. Ramirez, normally indifferent, also began to feel the pressure, joining his wife in the frantic searches. Arguments became more frequent, and the atmosphere, already oppressive, became almost unbearable. Guadalupe observed everything in silence. Recently returned, she noticed the changes in the family dynamics and felt the growing tension. Although raised in that environment, now with a new perspective, she saw the cruelty and decay of her family with different eyes. Anna, the invisible and underestimated figure, now stood out in her view. There was something in Anna that touched her deeply, a resilience and dignity that starkly contrasted with the superficiality of her own life. And so, amid the chaos, Anna remained steadfast, torn between fear and hope, while Guadalupe began to see beyond appearances. The disappearance of the ticket was just the beginning of a series of revelations that would challenge everyone in the Ramirez household. With Guadalupe's return, Anna began to realize that she was not as alone as she had thought. New alliances could be formed, and hidden secrets would start to come to light. The fate of everyone in that house was about to change, driven by Anna's silent courage and Guadalupe's unexpected empathy. Anna kept the ticket as if it were a secret treasure, always with the constant feeling that any slip could be fatal. With the ticket well hidden, she began to notice more than the usual superficial tensions in the Ramirez household. Small signs, once ignored, now seemed to carry hidden meanings. Whispers behind closed doors, furtive glances between family members, all indicated that there was more beneath the surface of opulence. One night, while cleaning Mr. Ramirez's office, Anna found documents that weren't there by accident. There were papers with numbers that made no sense and printed emails full of references to shady business deals. The sense that something was wrong began to take shape in her mind. The mansion, which had always been just a place of work, now seemed like a labyrinth of hidden secrets. Every day, Ana became more aware of her surroundings. The fights between Mr. and Mrs. Ramirez grew more intense and frequent. Arguments, once muffled by closed doors, now echoed through the corridors, creating an atmosphere of mutual distrust. Ana observed silently but attentively. Her position in the house gave her a unique and privileged view of the family's internal conflicts. Guadalupe, with her newfound sensitivity, also began to notice the cracks in the family's facade. She saw the tension in her mother's eyes and the frustration in her father's actions. The young girl tried to understand what was happening but felt that the truth was always a step ahead, hidden by the shadows of family secrets. Ana knew the ticket was a passport to a new life, but also a key that could unlock doors to dangerous revelations. She wondered if Mrs. Ramirez suspected her, if the suspicious glances were more than just gut feelings. With every move, Ana felt the weight of the ticket in her pocket, a constant reminder of the risk she was taking. As she cleaned the house, she came across more fragments of the Ramirez family's hidden life. The discoveries increased her fear, but also her determination. She knew she needed to be careful, but she couldn't help but notice that Guadalupe's empathy could be a powerful ally. And so, amid the whispers and secrets, Ana continued her work, increasingly aware that her life was intertwined with the Ramirez's destinies. The winning ticket was more than just a chance for change, it was a piece of a much larger puzzle that was about to be revealed. Guadalupe's return to the Ramirez mansion marked a subtle yet significant shift in the household's atmosphere. She had spent time away, studying in another city, and now returned with a renewed perspective. What once seemed normal now deeply disturbed her. The mansion's opulence, the extravagant parties, and her parents' coldness starkly contrasted with the realities she had encountered outside the comfort of her familial bubble. Upon her arrival, Guadalupe immediately sensed the tension in the air. Her parents' arguments were more frequent, and the servants seemed more nervous than ever. But it was Ana who caught her attention. Something about Ana's demeanor, the way she carried out her tasks with silent dignity, piqued Guadalupe's curiosity. One night, while the house was quiet, Guadalupe found Ana in the garden, a tired expression on her face. They exchanged few words, but something in that brief conversation made Guadalupe start to see Ana differently. There was a strength and resilience in Ana that contrasted sharply with the Ramirez family's superficiality. Guadalupe realized that for Ana, working in that house wasn't just a job, but a daily struggle for survival and dignity. As the days passed, Guadalupe began to pay more attention to the details. She observed how her mother treated Ana with unjust severity, how her father ignored the presence of the servants as if they were invisible. This new sensitivity made her question many things about her own life and the values her family had instilled in her. Guadalupe also noticed subtle changes in Ana. There was something different about her, a spark of hope mixed with caution. She knew something was happening, something she didn't fully understand. But her intuition told her that Ana was the key to uncovering these mysteries. One afternoon, Guadalupe found Ana organizing books in the library. She decided to help, and as they worked side by side, they talked again. This time, the conversation was deeper, and Ana, though reluctant, let slip some of her concerns. Guadalupe began to realize that Ana harbored secrets, perhaps as deep as those of the Ramirez family itself. Thus, Guadalupe's presence began to bring hidden truths to light, revealing a side of life in the mansion she had never noticed before. Her empathy for Ana grew, and with it, a desire to understand more and, perhaps, to help in some way. Guadalupe's return was not just a homecoming, it was the beginning of a silent transformation, an awakening to realities that had been hidden in the shadows. In this process, Ana and Guadalupe would discover that their lives were more intertwined than they could have imagined, united by secrets, hopes, and a quest for justice that would lead them to face unimaginable challenges. Guadalupe, now more attuned to the household dynamics, began observing Ana more closely. She saw how Ana, despite her discreet demeanor, carried a deep sadness in her eyes, mixed with a silent determination. The young Ramirez could no longer ignore the injustice happening right before her eyes. The empathy she felt for Ana grew stronger each day, transforming into a genuine desire to understand and possibly help. One day, while watching Ana being unjustly scolded by Mrs. Ramirez for a trivial mistake, Guadalupe couldn't contain herself any longer. She intervened, trying to calm the situation, but her mother, furious, completely ignored her and focused all her wrath on Ana. Guadalupe felt a sharp pain of helplessness, but something inside her changed at that moment. That night, while everyone slept, Guadalupe went to Ana's small room. The door was ajar, and upon entering, she found Ana sitting on the edge of the bed, her eyes lost in the void. Guadalupe approached slowly and sat beside her. Without saying a word, she handed Ana a handkerchief and gave her a look of understanding. It was a simple gesture, but laden with meaning. From that moment on, the two began to grow closer. They talked discreetly, sharing confidences and gradually discovering what united and differentiated them. Ana spoke about her sick brother, about the sacrifices she made to support him, and Guadalupe listened attentively, her heart heavy. Guadalupe's empathy for Ana transformed into a silent friendship, a tacit alliance. She began to see how her parents were blinded by power and money, unable to see the humanity in the people who worked for them. Guadalupe, on the other hand, felt an increasing urgency to do something, to change the situation. One afternoon, while talking in the garden, Ana mentioned something about the lottery ticket, still without revealing the secret she kept. Guadalupe sensed there was more behind Ana's words, but decided not to press. She knew trust was fragile and needed to be built patiently. As days passed, the friendship between Ana and Guadalupe strengthened. The young Ramirez began to get more involved in the household matters, trying to ease the lives of Ana and the other servants whenever she could. She was determined to make a difference, even if her parents didn't notice. Ana, for her part, felt torn between loyalty to the Ramirez family and the need to care for her sick brother. But now, with Guadalupe's friendship, she saw a small light at the end of the tunnel. There was hope, not just for her, but perhaps for everyone in that house. And so, amid the tensions and secrets, the two young women built a bridge between different worlds, united by empathy and the hope for a better future. The unexpected alliance between Ana and Guadalupe would be the spark that ignited a series of events, forever changing life at the Ramirez mansion. The atmosphere in the Ramirez house was becoming increasingly tense. Mrs. Ramirez's obsession with the lost lottery ticket reached a new level. Desperate and suspicious, she decided to take drastic measures, hiring a private investigator to find the missing ticket. The investigator, a stern-looking man with piercing eyes, arrived at the mansion with a clear mission. His presence added a new layer of unease. He began interrogating the staff, one by one, and meticulously searched every corner of the house. Ana, already in a constant state of alert, felt her fear grow even more. The ticket, hidden in a place she thought was safe, now felt like an even heavier burden on her mind. During the interrogations, the investigator spared no one. His questions were direct, and his gaze was ruthless. Ana knew she had to be careful. Any slip-up could be catastrophic. Each passing day increased the tension, not just within herself, but among everyone living in the house. Suspicion hung in the air, making everything feel even more suffocating. Guadalupe, closely observing the unfolding events, became increasingly worried about Ana. She saw the fear in her friend's eyes and felt the pressure weighing on her. Deciding to act, she resolved to help protect Ana, even if she couldn't reveal the truth. One night, while the investigator was out, Guadalupe called Ana for a conversation in her room. They locked the door and, in hushed tones, discussed what they could do. Guadalupe suggested hiding the ticket in an even safer place, but Ana hesitated. She knew that any move could be risky. They decided that it was best to stay calm and continue their lives as normally as possible, hoping the investigator wouldn't find anything. Meanwhile, Mrs. Ramirez continued to press the investigator, impatient and desperate. The arguments with Mr. Ramirez grew more frequent and intense, reflecting the internal chaos everyone was feeling. The mansion, once a symbol of opulence, now felt like a prison for all who lived there. Anna went about her daily tasks, always keeping a watchful eye on the investigator's movements. Every time he approached, her heart raced. She knew she needed to be strong, not just for herself, but for her brother, who depended on her. Amidst this storm of uncertainty, the friendship between Anna and Guadalupe grew stronger. They found solace in each other, sharing fears and hopes. They knew that, somehow, they would have to face the challenges ahead together. The investigator continued his relentless search, but Anna and Guadalupe were determined not to give in to fear. They understood that the lottery ticket was more than just a piece of paper, it was the key to a different future, a chance for freedom and change. And as they kept their secret safe, the fate of the Ramirez family hung in the balance, poised to be determined by the courageous actions of two women amidst the chaos. Anna felt the weight of the ticket in her pocket like an anchor, trapping her between two distinct worlds. On one side was her loyalty to the Ramirez family, whom she had worked for all these years despite their mistreatment. On the other was her desperate need to care for her sick brother, whose condition worsened every day. The lottery ticket represented an escape, a chance to change their lives forever, but it also carried enormous risk. During sleepless nights, Anna pondered her options. Running away with the ticket was tempting, but the prospect of being caught and severely punished terrified her. The image of her brother, fragile and in need of medical care, haunted her constantly. How could she abandon him? How could she ensure he received the necessary treatment if she were discovered and everything went wrong? Meanwhile, Guadalupe was becoming an increasingly important confidant and ally. She saw the anguish in Anna's eyes and felt a responsibility to help. The empathy Guadalupe developed for the maid transformed into action. Together, they plotted plans and discussed strategies, trying to find the best way out of Anna's precarious situation. Anna knew she couldn't wait much longer. The investigator was always nearby, and each passing day increased the risk of being discovered. On one of those planning nights, Guadalupe suggested that Anna use the money from the ticket not only for her brother but also for other causes, perhaps even to help other domestic workers in similar situations. The idea was noble and made Anna reflect on the impact she could have. The prospect of transforming her newfound fortune into something greater, something that could help many people, gave her a renewed sense of purpose. But the decision was not easy. Running away meant leaving behind the life she knew, even if it was a life of hardship. It meant risking everything for an uncertain future. Each day in the Ramirez mansion was an internal battle, a game of hide-and-seek with the truth. On a gray morning, Anna realized she could not delay her decision much longer. The investigator was getting closer to the truth, and the Ramirez family was more desperate than ever. She needed to act quickly, before it was too late. Torn between fear and hope, Anna began to sketch out her final plan, a desperate escape that could be her only chance at liberation. Guadalupe, by her side, promised to help in any way possible. Together, they knew the road ahead would be difficult, but they also understood that Anna's courage and Guadalupe's unexpected friendship might be enough to change their fates. And so, with the lottery ticket tightly held in her hands, Anna prepared to take the leap of faith that could transform her life forever. The night was dark and silent when Anna finally decided it was time to act. With the lottery ticket carefully hidden, she packed a small backpack with essentials and prepared to flee. The plan was simple but risky: leave the mansion before dawn, take a bus to the neighboring town, and disappear before anyone noticed her absence. Guadalupe, aware of Anna's decision, offered all the help she could, promising to cover her escape as much as possible. Anna's heart raced as she silently descended the stairs, each step a challenge to her courage. Upon reaching the back door, an unexpected noise made her stop. The investigator, who should have been sleeping, was there, inspecting the kitchen. For a moment that felt like an eternity, Anna froze, caught between fear and determination. The investigator looked up, his eyes meeting Anna's. He opened his mouth to speak, but Anna, driven by a desperate impulse, ran. She burst through the door and launched herself into the darkness of the garden, her heart pounding like a drum. The investigator's shouts echoed through the night, calling the Ramirez family and the other employees. Ana ran like never before, her legs moving with an urgency fueled by fear and hope. The sound of footsteps behind her propelled her forward, and she knew she couldn't stop. The mansion, with its bright lights and confused shouts, quickly faded behind her. But her escape was short-lived. As she tried to jump over the garden fence, she felt strong hands gripping her arms. It was the investigator, followed by other employees who reluctantly helped capture her. Ana struggled, but she was exhausted. They dragged her back to the house, where Mrs. Ramirez awaited her, a look of triumph mixed with fury on her face. Inside the mansion, the scene was chaotic. The Ramirez family demanded answers, and the investigator rummaged through Ana's backpack, finding the lottery ticket. Mrs. Ramirez's expression changed instantly, shifting from rage to a victorious smile. She grabbed the ticket and, without even looking at Ana, began celebrating the recovery of her fortune. Guadalupe, who had silently witnessed everything, could no longer contain her indignation. She stepped between her mother and Ana, trying to protect her friend from the reprisals she knew would come. But Mrs. Ramirez was blinded by relief and accumulated anger, and nothing seemed to deter her impulse to punish Ana. The situation reached a peak when the police were called. At the station, Ana faced the Ramirez family in a final confrontation. Guadalupe, by her side, revealed the dark secrets she had uncovered about her own family. Corruption, shady dealings, everything came to light. What was supposed to be a simple accusation against Ana turned into a broader investigation into the Ramirez family itself. Ana, even in the face of adversity, maintained her dignity. She knew the lottery ticket had been her chance to escape, but now, exposed and vulnerable, her fate seemed uncertain. However, the steadfast presence of Guadalupe beside her was a beacon of hope. The truth was emerging, and with it, the possibility of justice for all. As the night unfolded at the police station, Ana and Guadalupe realized that, regardless of the outcome, they had initiated a transformation. And in that moment of uncertainty and revelations, they began to glimpse a path to the redemption and justice they so desired. At the police station, the atmosphere was thick with tension. Ana, exhausted and with eyes full of apprehension, faced the Ramirez family. Mrs. Ramirez, still holding the lottery ticket, looked at Ana with a mix of disdain and triumph. Mr. Ramirez, always cold and distant, now seemed more concerned with the murmurs and glances of the police officers around. Guadalupe, determined to support Ana, stood by her side, her presence a bastion of solidarity. She knew that this moment was crucial, not only for Ana but also to reveal the true face of her own family. The investigator, who had been hired to find the ticket, now found himself amid a drama larger than he had anticipated. The police officer's initial questions were direct and incisive. Ana, with a trembling but firm voice, recounted her version of events. She explained how she had found the ticket and kept it hidden, fearing the Ramirez family's reaction. Each word was a courageous step toward the truth, a truth that the Ramirez family desperately tried to suppress. Mrs. Ramirez, outraged, constantly interrupted, accusing Ana of theft and betrayal. But with each interruption, Guadalupe rose in defense of Ana, revealing to the officers the secrets she had uncovered about her parents. She spoke of shady dealings, corruption, and the inhumane treatment of the employees. Her voice, filled with emotion, resonated throughout the room, capturing everyone's attention. The officers, initially focused on the issue of the ticket, began to realize that there was much more at stake. Guadalupe's narrative and the evidence she presented painted a dark picture of the Ramirez family. Mr. Ramirez, visibly uncomfortable, attempted to deflect the accusations, but the tide was turning against him. Empowered by Guadalupe's support, Ana maintained her dignity. She knew that the lottery ticket was merely a detail in a much larger story of abuse and injustice. As the police delved deeper into their investigations, the truth about the Ramirez family began to emerge, like an inevitable tide of justice. The atmosphere in the station became dense with revelations. Mrs. Ramirez, who had started the night so confident of her victory, now found herself surrounded by truths she preferred to keep hidden. Mr. Ramirez, always the master of control, felt the ground beneath his feet crumbling. And then, in a moment of profound courage, Ana spoke one last time. With a calm but resolute voice, she talked about the hope the ticket represented for her and her sick brother. She spoke of dreams for a better future and the desire to help not only herself but also those who suffered like her. Her sincerity touched everyone, revealing the strength of a woman who, despite everything, never lost hope. The truth was finally being revealed. The masks were falling, and the true nature of the Ramirez family was exposed to the light. And in that moment of clarity and justice, Ana and Guadalupe understood that the fight was far from over, but together, they could face any challenge that the future held. The atmosphere in the police station was tense, but something unexpected began to take shape. As the truth about the Ramirez family emerged and Guadalupe's revelations shed light on their dark secrets, Ana made a decision that no one saw coming. With her eyes fixed on the lottery ticket in Mrs. Ramirez's hands, Ana felt a wave of compassion. She knew that this piece of paper could change her life and her brother's life, but she also understood that something greater was at stake. In a surprising gesture, Ana asked to speak. All eyes turned to her. Mrs. Ramirez, still gripping the ticket tightly, narrowed her eyes, suspicious. Guadalupe, beside Ana, held her hand, offering silent support. Ana took a deep breath and, with a voice full of dignity and strength, declared that she wanted to donate the prize money to a charity fund. The room fell into absolute silence. No one expected this twist. Ana explained that the money could be used to help not only herself and her brother, but many others who suffered like her. It could finance medical treatments, provide support to needy families, and create opportunities for those, like her, trapped in cycles of oppression and poverty. Ana's decision was met with a mix of shock and admiration. The police officers, who had witnessed Ana's struggle for justice, now saw her as a figure of altruism and hope. Mrs. Ramirez, initially incredulous, began to realize what she was losing. Her attempts at control and power were crumbling in the face of an act of pure generosity. Guadalupe, with tears in her eyes, embraced Ana. She knew that her friend's courage and heart were greater than any material wealth. Together, they began discussing the details of the charity fund, with Ana leading the initiative. The transformation that started in that police station quickly spread. News of Ana's gesture and the exposure of the Ramirez family's secrets circulated, causing a profound impact on the community. The charity fund, founded with the lottery money, became a symbol of change and hope, helping countless people and bringing new purpose to Ana's life. Ana's decision not only ensured a better future for her brother, but also changed everyone's perception of what true wealth means. Ana's courage and compassion became an inspiration, showing that even in the darkest circumstances, the light of hope and altruism can shine brightly. And so, Ana's journey, marked by challenges and suffering, found a new purpose. Together with Guadalupe, she transformed the lottery prize into a powerful tool for social justice, proving that true change begins with acts of courage and compassion. As Ana and Guadalupe worked on creating the charity fund, a new strength united them. Ana's gesture had forged an unbreakable bond, and together, they began planning their next steps. Moved by Ana's integrity, Guadalupe decided it was time to confront her parents more directly and courageously. One night, after a long meeting about the charity fund, Guadalupe called Ana for a private conversation. They sat in the kitchen, a place that, despite so many painful memories, now felt like a space of hope and collaboration. Guadalupe looked into Ana's eyes and said firmly, "Ana, we need to expose everything. We must reveal to the world the corruption and cruelty of my parents. Only then can we ensure that justice is served and that others don't suffer as you have." Initially hesitant, Ana knew Guadalupe was right. The lottery money could help many people, but true change required more than that. Exposing the truth about the Ramirez family could prevent future injustices and bring complete redemption for everyone involved. With a plan in mind, Ana and Guadalupe began gathering evidence. Documents, emails, and financial records that Guadalupe had discovered became crucial pieces. Ana also documented her testimony, recounting years of mistreatment and the discovery of the lottery ticket. Each detail was a part of the puzzle that would reveal the true nature of the Ramirez family. The day of the revelation arrived. At a press conference organized by Guadalupe, the two women stood before a crowd of journalists and cameras. Ana, with a dignified posture and firm voice, shared her story. She recounted the years of suffering, the discovery of the ticket, and her decision to use it for a greater good. Guadalupe, by her side, presented the collected evidence, exposing the corruption and shady dealings of her parents. The truth was finally being revealed to the world. The immediate impact was profound. Society, shocked by the revelations, began to question not only the Ramirez family but also the structure that allowed such abuses. Watching the press conference broadcast, Mrs. Ramirez was in shock. Mr. Ramirez, always the master of appearances, tried to downplay the damage, but the tide was turning against them. Authorities launched investigations, and the Ramirez family now faced the consequences of their actions. Even in the face of adversity, Ana and Guadalupe felt a deep sense of relief. They knew the journey was far from over, but they had taken a crucial step toward justice. The charity fund, now stronger and more legitimate, began to operate with transparency and a purpose that reflected the values of its founders. The unexpected alliance between Ana and Guadalupe not only brought the secrets of the Ramirez family to light but also inspired others to fight for justice and dignity. The courage of both became a beacon of hope for many, showing that even the most unlikely bonds can change the world. And so, as the investigations continued and changes began to emerge, Ana and Guadalupe knew that together, they could face any challenge. The struggle for justice and redemption had only just begun, but it was already bearing fruit that would change lives forever. After the press conference, Ana and Guadalupe knew they needed a detailed plan to ensure the revelations had a lasting impact. They gathered in the small living room of Ana's home, a modest place but now filled with hope and purpose. Guadalupe, with the determination she inherited from her mother but with a much more compassionate heart, began to outline a plan. They needed to expose not only the crimes and abuses committed by the Ramirez family but also transform this exposure into a movement for change. Ana, with her practical wisdom and resilience, understood that this movement needed to be supported by concrete actions. First, they decided to create a support network for other domestic workers and vulnerable individuals. They would use the charity fund as a foundation to offer legal assistance, psychological support, and opportunities for education and training. They wanted to ensure that no one else had to endure what Ana had experienced. Ana suggested launching a campaign to raise awareness about the rights of domestic workers. They would utilize the media, social networks, and partnerships with NGOs to educate both employees and employers about rights and responsibilities. Guadalupe, with her influence and contacts, began organizing events and lectures, inviting experts to speak on the subject. With media support, which was now following every step they took, they began to see results. Stories from others who had suffered abuses started to emerge, and the movement gained momentum. The denunciations made by Ana and Guadalupe inspired others to speak out, creating a wave of solidarity and justice. But they knew that exposing the Ramirez family was not enough. They needed to ensure that the consequences were just and would serve as an example to others. They worked tirelessly with lawyers and activists to push for a thorough investigation and for changes in labor laws. They wanted the case to be a landmark, a reference for future generations. Guadalupe, alongside Ana, testified against her own parents, revealing documents and testimonies that corroborated the allegations. It was an act of courage, a definitive break with the past, but necessary to build a better future. Meanwhile, in Ana's home, the atmosphere was changing. There were more visitors, more activity, and an increasing sense of community. Ana, once isolated and depressed, was now becoming a respected and admired leader. Guadalupe, by her side, rediscovered her purpose and sense of justice. Together, they faced criticism and threats, but the strength of truth and justice kept them firm. With every small victory, they knew they were closer to a future where the dignity and rights of all were respected. Ana and Guadalupe's journey was not just a fight against the injustices of the Ramirez family, but a battle for a fairer world. The unlikely alliance between the maid and the boss's daughter was transforming into a powerful symbol that deep change is possible when courage and empathy unite. And so, as they continued to work tirelessly, Ana and Guadalupe envisioned a new horizon. They knew the path was long, but they were determined to press on, inspiring others to join them in the quest for justice and redemption. While Ana and Guadalupe's plan for justice and redemption unfolded, life at the Ramirez mansion was changing irreversibly. Investigations into the Ramirez's corruption and abuses gained momentum, and the community, inspired by Ana's courageous example, began uniting in solidarity. With her unwavering strength, Ana continued to work at the Living Hope Charity Foundation. The foundation now not only provided legal and psychological support, but also initiated vocational training programs for domestic workers, opening new doors to a more dignified future. Alongside Ana, Guadalupe dedicated herself to transforming the Ramirez mansion into a community center. Once a symbol of oppression, the place would now be a hub for education and empowerment. She leveraged her influence to raise funds and ensure the center had everything needed to fulfill its mission. At the inauguration ceremony of the community center, Ana looked at the mansion with new eyes. The house that had been a scene of so much suffering now harbored hope and opportunities. Guadalupe stood beside her, holding her hand, both feeling the weight of the moment. The speeches that night were moving. Ana spoke of her journey, how pain and humiliation had been transformed into strength and purpose. She thanked everyone who supported her cause and expressed gratitude for being alive to see that day. With tears in her eyes, Guadalupe spoke about the importance of facing the truth, no matter how painful. She talked about the power of empathy and courage, and how her unexpected friendship with Ana had changed her life forever. She pledged to continue fighting for justice and equality, inspired by her friend's strength. As the community celebrated, Ana and Guadalupe realized that true transformation had occurred within them. They were no longer the same people who had started this journey. They had found purpose, strength, and a sense of community they could never have imagined. The Ramirez family faced the consequences of their actions. Justice, though delayed, was finally served. The name Ramirez, once synonymous with power and oppression, was now a reminder of what happens when truth and justice prevail. However, Ana and Guadalupe knew their work was just beginning. The Living Hope Community Center became a beacon of hope, inspiring others to fight for their rights and dignity. With each new story of transformation, they remembered their own journey, the challenging path they had walked together. And so, as the night fell and stars shone in the sky, Ana and Guadalupe looked to the future with confidence. They knew that together, they could face any challenge. The past was full of pain, but the present and future were filled with the promise of a fairer, more compassionate world. Ana's journey, marked by suffering and resilience, found redemption not just in a lottery ticket but in the transformation of her suffering into a movement of justice and hope. Alongside Guadalupe, she proved that courage and compassion can change the world, one step at a time. And as they moved forward to new challenges, they knew they had created something enduring, something that would continue to inspire and transform lives for generations to come. And so, Ana and Guadalupe's story shows us that courage and determination can turn even the darkest moments into a beacon of hope and change. They faced immense challenges, but with the strength of empathy and justice, they made a lasting impact in their lives and the lives of many others. Now, think about yourself. What injustices have you witnessed or faced? What is holding you back from fighting for a better future, not just for yourself, but for those around you? If Ana and Guadalupe could turn their adversity into a positive force, what's stopping you from doing the same? Are you ready to make a difference? Are you willing to confront your fears and stand up for what's right? Their story teaches us that even in the toughest situations, there's always a possibility for change, as long as we have courage and determination. If you've been inspired by this story, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. This way, you'll continue to follow incredible stories that can inspire you to change your life. And, of course, don't forget to watch the videos on the screen now. Each one carries an important lesson that can help you transform your life and the lives of those around you. Let's together build a more just and compassionate world. Change begins with each of us. Let's take the next step together.